Okay, hello. Y'all wanted a spoiler-filled vlog for this, so that's what I'm going to try to attempt. I've never done, other than for my patrons, which are always like very small vlogs, I've never done a spoiler-filled vlog before, so we're going to give this a go. Fancied the thought of it, so let's go in. So this is the Mindfuck series by St. Abby. This is books 1 to 5, so I am going to be reading them all this week, so I will be spoiling the whole series. And this is basically a serial killer romance book, so it's very dark. It's on the dark romance side of things. So obviously trigger warnings, there's a serial killer, it's dark romance, I reckon it's going to get violent. But I am already here for this because it's not your usual serial killer romance. The woman, Lana, is our serial killer, and the love interest, Logan, is an FBI agent on her case. He doesn't know it's her, obviously. So I have already started this. I'm on page 44, and so far I'm already really enjoying this. I enjoy the writing style. I enjoy that it's such a fast-paced read because the chapters are short. Not only that, but there's quite a bit of texting back and forth between Lana and Logan. So this has obviously started off with us initially being in the mindset of Lana and meeting Logan at a coffee shop. Initially, his work buddy makes a hit on her, but she's like, absolutely not, fuck off. And then he makes a very, very subtle move on her, and it works. So it grabs her attention. So they end up then texting back and forth, and then we get a chapter with her murdering someone. Which was interesting to say the least. Now, I think what's going on here, we don't actually know properly at this point, apart from what's on the back of the book. But I think what's going on here is that when she was younger, like a teenager, I think she was potentially kidnapped, and then she was used and abused by several men. I don't know how far this using and abusing goes, but I'm fairly certain that it's probably gonna encompass sexual assault, rape, etc. So I think what's happened then is she managed to get out somehow, and then she's on a murderous rampage now as an adult, trying to kill all these men and get revenge. I reckon that's where it's going. I don't know that for certain at this point, but I'm really enjoying this so far, really enjoying the writing style. I absolutely adore Logan and Lana's relationship so far. I just am a little bit already, because I'm so invested already, I'm a bit terrified to see where this relationship is going to go and how it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be a case of Logan catches up with her and he just cannot see past it, or whether it's going to be a case of he catches up with her and he can see past it because he understands, whether he's going to start trying to help her. I don't know. It's definitely giving me Dexter vibes though. If you've ever watched Dexter, you know. So yeah, really enjoying it so far. I did just read the line though, it's really kind of sweet. Logan's about to go over to Lana's now, and I did just read the line because Lana Myers has been in my head since the day I met her, and it'd be nice if someone noticed I was missing. Bless him. What a sweetie. I don't know how I can be this soft on a serial killer romance. Don't know what the fuck that says about me, but I am here for this so far. So I will be going along giving you some of my spoiler-filled thoughts. I will try and keep them short and choppy and more often rather than long like I do with my patrons. The problem sometimes with my patron vlogs, spoiler vlogs, is that I read the book too fast and forget to update. So I will do my best to keep coming back and giving you thoughts, short, choppy, but regularly, hopefully. So yeah, I am 41 pages into book 1, which is, no I'm not, I'm 44 pages into book 1, which is 123 pages long. So I don't have I have a while left, but not too much. So yeah, I will keep you posted, let you know how I'm getting on, and I will give you another update in a little bit. Okay, so it's the same, it's only been a little while. I've had some tea and then continued reading for a bit, but I've just got to the point. The next chapter was basically about how Lana ended up becoming Lana because she's somebody completely different. She was saying that the person that she used to be died 10 years ago, and then this woman, Catherine, Oh, Victoria. Victoria's who she was. Kennedy is who she became. I think she basically took Kennedy's face. Kennedy was in an accident. Nobody knew about it. And I think because it was so fresh, nobody knew. So she took Kennedy's face, took on Kennedy's identity, and then legally changed her name to Lana Myers so that those close to Kennedy wouldn't come hunting for her. And which is so... it seems very extreme. So I'm really intrigued now to find out what's going on and why that happened. And then she's got this guy Jake, who's like a mastermind at identity changes. So he clearly helped her out become Kennedy and then Lana, so, and basically kill Victoria. So yeah, she has gone through some very severe identity changes, and I am intrigued to find out more. So I am going to carry on and do that. She's about to start talking about her healing process, so I am intrigued to find out more. There's already been several changes of outfit in this video. That's because I filmed another video in between. I am now on page 80 of, looks like I'm making no progress, of book 1, and I just came back in to have a chat with you. We're up to chapter 11, and in chapter 10 just now, Lana nipped to New York, to check up on one of the guys that she's been watching. She's concerned that he is meeting up with one of the other guys that she's going to kill, and it turns out he did. She also ended up meeting Jake, her best friend, there. However, Logan was also in New York for a case, and she's just nearly accidentally bumped into him. How that has even happened in New York, I will never know. She literally says the words, "New York is way too big for this to be happening," which is so true. But we also have a shocking discovery that we just found out that not only was she brutalised by the sounds of things, again, still don't know to what extent because we haven't gone through that story yet, but it sounds like they killed her brother for being gay, which is shocking. I am absolutely shooketh. So, yeah, shocked. It looks like she's bringing the murder of Tyler and Lawrence forward now, and she's going to do a double murder at the same time because they are starting to get a little bit too close to figuring out what's going on. So it looks like she's going to bring that forward. But yeah, also the sex scene in around chapter 8 or 9. Yes, please. This author knows how to write sex scenes, so I am intrigued to have some more of those. It was very good. So yeah, still really enjoying it, having a good time. I am so intrigued to find out what happened to her. Very intrigued. I am loving the contrast though between her feeling like she was never going to find, you know, peace and love and ever be able to open herself up to another person again, and then actually finding Logan and finding that happiness, albeit relatively quickly. I think with a person like her who's been detached for so long and who has been recovering from what happened to her for so long, maybe it's a case of when you know, you know. So it's nice to see that contrast between serial killer and just a normal human woman. Obviously she is a serial killer with the intent of revenge, not a serial killer just for the sake of being a fucking serial killer. So not that it's necessarily okay either way, but I don't know, maybe I'll get to the end of this book and be like, you know what, yeah. I mean, I semi already agree with it. They killed her brother just because he was gay. Like, kill them. Do it to all of them. But, you know. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Having a good time. Hoping to finish this one this evening. It is currently, not that it matters, but it is currently 10 to 10. Oh, it's cowboy time. So I am hoping to finish this one. I'm on page 80, so I've got about 42 pages-ish left to go. So yeah, I've currently got Becca on in the background with a read with me Pomodoro sprints. So I'm just watching them and using them to help take breaks and stuff in between. So yeah, so I'm gonna go carry on reading. Okay, it's only a couple minutes later. I'm 69. I don't know why I keep doing that, like you can fucking see it. I'm 69% through, which makes me incredibly happy because I'm rude. But I have a prediction and I wanted to film my prediction so we can see if it comes true. So I think Hadley, who is one of the FBI agents, who by the sounds of things is a little rough and ready, Logan has just confirmed that if she wasn't like brought up FBI, but if she was not in the FBI, she would be in prison. I think Hadley's gonna figure this out. I reckon that she's gonna get close to the truth, and either Lana's gonna have to shut her down or Logan will. I reckon that's what's gonna happen here. I reckon Logan's gonna get himself in deep with Lana, he's gonna find out what's happening, and then he's gonna be torn on what to do, because for Lana it's the right thing to do, but for an FBI agent it is not. But I reckon Hadley's gonna get close. She's very clever. That is all. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens. Oh shit. I fucking knew it. Number of things I wanted to make a mention to. I have another prediction. I predict that Jake was Marcus's boyfriend. Marcus being Lana's brother. We have had confirmation that Jake is bisexual but into men more than he is into women, and Lana did say that they both love Marcus. So my prediction is that Jake was Marcus's boyfriend. I'm also going to come back to the whole Hadley thing. We've just had the reveal at the end of the book that Hadley has turned up to Lana's asking why she has stolen the identity of a dead girl. Dun dun dun. Also, I think Lana might have just put her foot in it by saying that the boogeyman has struck once again in DC by dropping a body, and Hadley did not know about it. So I think at some point Hadley's going to click on that and go, how did you know about that when I didn't? Why would you know about that? Although she did get the text from Logan to say that he was on boogeyman business, but he didn't clarify what exactly. I also think that when we come back to the whole Hadley thing and you know, the killings that Lana's doing, I actually think what's going to happen here, maybe, I think Hadley is going to figure her out, and I think that that's going to be a sore subject both for Logan and for Lana, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But I actually also think that what's going to happen here is Lana is going to end up helping Logan profile her own case to throw him off her scent. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm fucking loving this series so far. I've only read book 1, but I'm fucking loving it so far because it's turning me into a proper little detective. I feel like I'm on Logan's FBI team and everything, and I love books that do this to me. Like, sometimes I struggle with some thrillers or horrors to try and figure out what the fuck's going on, but I enjoy them when they want you to get involved. Well, this never, maybe it doesn't want you to get involved a little bit, but I feel like I've got so many theories and predictions and I'm really excited. So yeah, I never thought a serial killer romance would get me so excited, but I'm fucking loving this so far. I need to run it through Corpile, but it's going to be definitely a 4-star. It could be more than that, but I've really enjoyed the first one in this series and I'm so fucking excited we ended up picking this one for Literature Book Club because I think it's going to be awesome. So yeah, having a great time so far. So that is book 1 down, 4 more to go. So I may go and get in bed and make a start on book 2. We will see. But yeah, next book, book 2. Okay, I'm back with some more thoughts. I'm currently now on chapter 4 of book 2. And obviously we ended the first book with Hadley turning up and asking Lana why she is pretending to be a dead rich girl. It turns out Lana has actually practiced for this and she has a really good alibi, and it's basically the fact that she is the rich dead girl. She didn't die, she was just severely damaged in the accident, which is why she doesn't look like how she used to look like anymore, and basically she did survive, but she's gone under the radar since then because it was just a really bad time. So I don't think Hadley's convinced, but now the boogeyman killer, which is actually, so I thought that Logan was already on her case and he's not, and I think what's going to happen is later on in the series he will become on her case. At the moment, I think what's happening is he's got 2 cases running side by side, but he's more focused on the boogeyman one at the moment, which is basically a serial killer who's going around raping women and killing them at the same time. So, and he's basically asked Lana in the first book, I think I've gone through this with you, but in the first book he was asking Lana about how she would profile this killer, and she basically got them a new lead. Now Hadley hasn't been grateful for this lead, and therefore he's looking into Lana's history and you know, profiling her, which is how we've ended up in this situation with Hadley turning up at Lana's front door asking why she's pretending to be a rich dead girl. So we're in this situation now. However, the boogeyman killer has now taken to killing a judge's wife and hanging her out of her window with Logan's name scrawled all over her body. So he has now put a detail outside Lana's house, which is inconvenient for Lana because she's supposed to be on a killing spree. So it's very inconvenient for her. She has a detail outside her house, which she obviously doesn't like, and she's told Logan. He's now asking if a cop can just move in with her, which again is inconvenient because she has her serial killer room upstairs. So she's hoping that a cop doesn't go mooching round, but she doesn't now know what the best thing to do is, because obviously a cop is going to notice her coming in and out of the house, and etc, etc. So I don't know where this is going to go. It's getting very intriguing.
No, I don't have an answer for that.
Does she mind? I actually kind of really hope, I was thinking about this while driving the other day, and I actually kind of really hope it doesn't get to a point where Logan stops her. I want her to complete her mission, because I don't think she will continue killing people once she's completed this mission. I think she'll stop at that point. She has a goal and that's it. I don't think she will continue doing it. However, she does have the serial killer, like, obviously she's a serial killer, but she enjoys it, which naturally it's revenge, but she's gone through the thought process of, do I need to kill Hadley? Because she's going to be a problem. She immediately goes, no, 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 let's not be stupid now, but we may need to kind of like get her out the picture some way, like distract her or something. I don't know how far this is going to go. So yeah, also Lana's been introduced to Logan's ex-girlfriend. What was she called? Lisa is Logan's ex-girlfriend, and in the last chapter she was just in Lana's house and she knew nothing about Lana. She was being a bitch. So intriguing. I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to carry on reading now and try and finish book 2 and then move straight on to book 3, because I'm really behind, and I was hoping that I would be further on than this by now, but I'm not. So let's go. Okay, it's a bit later. A thing happened where I had to do some work, but I'm back to reading again now. I haven't read too much more. I'm on 31%, but there's a little bit here where Logan has stayed the night at Lana's while he just had a bit of a break from work and got some sleep, and he's been getting ready to go back to the office, and he's apologising essentially, like, by saying that he wants to take her on a date and then another and another, and that he will be back tomorrow and the next day and the next. It's not too much, but right now. And she interrupts him saying, stop acting like you're not enough. I tell him, kissing him again. I want to tell him he's too good for me. I want to beg him to save my soul from damnation. I want to plead with some powers above that will take the pain that drives me, to let karma step in and handle the rest, but I'm the only reckoning there will be. I feel really sad for her that she's in this situation. Like, I know she could choose to just let it go, but she's clearly gotten to a point now where she spent the last 11 years building up to this revenge, and I do not blame her in the slightest. So I'm all for it, but it makes me really sad that this causes so many problems for her relationship going forward. I don't know, I feel like, as much as like I joke about the fact that this is such a good, well, I don't joke, it is a good fucking book, and I love the writing style. The sex scenes are great in here, and I really enjoy the relationship between Lana and Logan. I do find it a little bit comedic that a serial killer is dating an FBI agent, a serial profiler, nonetheless, very specifically. But I do feel that this could be, it's going to be really tough for their relationship, and I do wonder where this is going to go. So it will be intriguing to continue and find that out. So I'm going to do my very best now to try and fly through the rest of this book, and then try and get through book 3 as well. So before my sprints, it is currently 4:04, and I do have Becca on in the background. We've got a 40-minute sprint now, so I'm going to see how much I can nail in this 40-minute sprint, and see how much I can get through. I do at some point need to make some food as well, and then I've got sprints, public sprints this evening from 6:30 to try and get through the rest of this. So we will see how that goes. But yeah, I will check back in with you when I've got something else to discuss with you. 44% into book 2. Another prediction, I think the guys that did this to her and her brother were cops. Because she's currently having a conversation with Jake after breaking up with Logan because he didn't let her know that he's okay. She's having a conversation with Jake, and she's going on about the badges, like having cops in her house. She's not comfortable with it, having the badges and stuff. I want to rip them off and flush them down the toilet. They wear them with pride. They're not from Delaney Grove, babe. You can't confuse the two. I'm not. They'd be dead if there was any confusion. I just feel dirty. I don't want them there. I don't want them there anymore. Not because he makes me feel dirty and giving it too much by playing by his rules. I haven't even started Anthony's house yet, besides the 2 cameras. I reckon they were cops, and they abused their power, and that's why she has an issue with authority and the police specifically, because she does make some very strange comments to Logan. And I just figured it was a case of the fact that she's a serial killer, and obviously she shouldn't be shacking up with cops on that basis. But I actually think it might be because the people that she's killing were cops, and they abused their power. We shall see what happens with that. Okay, I just finished book 2. And my sprints will be starting in the next, what time are we on? Ooh, half hour or so. I need to make some tea. So book 2 ended with the boogeyman attacking Lana in her home. I fucking knew it. The minute that she left the police station on her own, I fucking knew it. I knew it. Called it. We also ended with Lana killing Hadley's stepfather, who it turns out is a child molester and abuser, and was abusing Hadley when she was a young girl until she ran away at the age of 13. In which this sick bastard then left her mother because she no longer had any use for him because she no longer had a child, and managed to get a job working for homeless children. Horrible, horrible bastard. So she went and killed him, saved the little girl Laurel, who she then went and dropped off at why does my brain want to say Lorelei? Lindy, sorry, at Lindy's, who it sounds like was involved in some way or another, not in the bad sense, in the sense that she tried to stop it, in whatever happened to Lana and her brother. It sounds like she was trying to stop it with one of the other guys that also didn't want to get involved and wanted to try and stop it, but just didn't feel like he could. So Laurel has been dropped off with Lindy, and they've been at the FBI telling them what they know about the grave sites of the other young girls that have been murdered by this guy. Yeah, it was all pretty sick, to be honest. I wonder, they're tying now this crime to Lana's other murders, so that didn't take too long. But yeah, I do wonder where this is going to go. I was saying earlier that I don't think that Lana would necessarily go off track and deviate from her list. I was wrong. However, I do support this deviation. That guy was a sick bastard, I'm not going to lie. So I support it 100%. But yeah, that's where I'm up to. So I have now read book 2. And if we look at the physical copy, that means I am here and going to start Scarlet Angel in the sprints. So hopefully we're around the 240 page mark, I think. 238 page mark. So hopefully I will get that one finished. I'm hoping I might be able to do 3 and 4 this evening, and then I will just take my Kindle with me this weekend to Andy's, and because I'm going to be at his from tomorrow. We've got a funeral tomorrow, and then Saturday is a quiet day for us, so I'm hoping that if I take my Kindle with me I might be able to read series 5, book 5, maybe while he's playing some PlayStation or watching TV. And then Sunday we're at a charity event for a friend of ours who currently has cancer. So it's a busy weekend, but I'm hoping that I will be able to still continue and finish this series by the end of the weekend. We will see. If not, I will try and finish it on Monday. But yeah, that's where I'm up to. So I will come back to you when I have gotten through some of book 3 and I have some updates for you and maybe more predictions. But that's where I am up to currently. Okay, I'm on chapter 3, we're 8% in. I've started the sprints with Gav. But I'm partway through the chapter, and Hadley is on her way to Lana's because she suspects Lana killed Kenneth, which she did. But Hadley's only suspecting it because of Laurel waving at Lana and saying that an angel's watching over her, and she's even watching over her right now. And Lana was at the police station at the time. So Hadley is on her way to Lana's, which at the time that this is happening, Lana is still at the police station. However, we are aware that Lana has just now been kidnapped when she's gotten back home by the boogeyman. So is Hadley about to also get taken out by the boogeyman who's waiting for Lana to get home? Or will she be there before the boogeyman gets there and therefore not see the boogeyman? Dun dun dun! Tune in. Stay tuned. You're already tuned in. Stay tuned to find out what happens next. Okay, a bit of time has passed. I was correct. He did get Hadley. Locked her in a cupboard. And then got Lana on her way in. However, she played her role perfectly. She allowed him to beat her up a little bit, and then she took back control, and she, over the course of some time, killed him. But she's done it in such a way that it all looked like an accident, like she got lucky, like the women do in the movies. So yeah, however, she's still unaware that Hadley is now in the wardrobe. She's not sure, she doesn't know that. And Hadley has just watched all of it, and she's gone through the whole mental thing of, oh my god, maybe I was wrong to suspect Lana, I feel so bad, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't be here, to holy shit, who is this woman, to oh my god, she killed Kenneth, but then the FBI are tying Kenneth to the same serial killer that's killing all these other men, to oh my god, she's the same person, to should I stop this? It sounds like she's trying to get revenge for something. Should I be stopping it? I already feel bad that all these young girls are now dead and buried because I didn't do enough to stop Kenneth. Yeah, no, I'm on Team Lana. And I love that process. So now I'm intrigued to see how Lana's going to find out that Hadley's in the cupboard, and also what she's going to do with her when she finds her. I'm kind of hoping that Hadley will keep it quiet and then become her little sidekick within the FBI. That would be cool, but we'll see how it goes. Oh shit. I am now 28% into book 3 and we've had another revelation, so I think it turns out, not 100% confirmed yet, although do we know that Victoria's last name was Evans? I can't remember. Anyway, I think what's happened here is that Lana's dad from her original life, like when she was Victoria, was set up and was pinned for being a serial killer. Not just a serial killer, but like a really, really horrific serial killer. And he was obviously innocent, but I think somebody set him up. I think it's going to have something to do with the potential, what I think are cops, that then abused and, abused Victoria and her brother Marcus, aka Lana, because we've just got to a point where it says Robert Evans died the day he was convicted. The coroner's report had 3 words: he hung himself. So it sounds like the coroner's in on it as well. That town is fucking weird, man. Legit, that's all it says. Then the kids went missing 2 nights later. I haven't gone on from that point. That's where I'm up to. So I can't confirm nor deny that this is Victoria's father, but I assume this is the case, and it's all starting to come together now. And then it sounds like these guys then kidnapped the kids, abused them, and then thought that they'd killed Victoria. They definitely killed Marcus, but they clearly didn't do a decent enough job on Victoria because she's back now as Lana. So yep. Okay, hello, it's a lot later. It's like 11:30 and I'm now 9% into book 4. So I did finish book 3. We're at a point now where the FBI are all in Delaney town, where all of this went down with Lana when she was Victoria. She's also with them, and Jacob has started putting into place some little things. So like the water's running red in town, and some bits of paint are coming up with, like, you know, scripture and stuff. So it's all popping off, it's all going down. But we've just had the story from Diana about exactly what happened to Lana and Marcus, and also to Robert, their dad. It's fucking awful. I actually thought I might be sick at one point. It was really, really bad. I was wrong with my suspicions that the people that did this to them were police. They aren't police. They were only kids between the ages of about 15 and I think it was like 18, 19. So they were kids, vile, horrible, fucking evil little kids. And the reason why I thought cops were involved, they are, it's just that they were covering it up. I have a new suspicion in that the crime that Robert was committed of, was accused of, sorry, and committed of, in which he then killed himself, was in fact, I actually think it's probably the Agent Johnson. I think it might be him, because it seems like he's pulling a lot of strings, including the sheriffs, who he convinced the sheriff that it was Robert, and this is why all of this shit went down. So yeah, I feel a little bit unsettled by all of this and a bit sick. I knew it was bad, I just didn't realise it was that bad. So yes, horrific. I am glad we've got the whole story now though, because I feel like we've just been piecing it together bit by bit so far. So yeah, that was really bad. And then we've just had a part, because they've just heard the story from Diana, we've just had a part where Donnie's saying to Logan that he always hates these kinds of cases because he always wonders if he's actually on the right side of the law. And I can imagine it is quite disorientating, and it feels really weird to be a cop in this kind of situation, because obviously you would want them dead. Like, part of you's probably sat there going, should we just let them carry on? Yeah, shocking. I'm going to carry on. We've got 14 minutes left, and I would like to get a good chunk into book 4 if I can before these sprints finish, because this is the last one. So I am going to carry on. Oh no, I've just had a thought. What if it was Kyle? I've just carried on reading a little bit, and it turns out that apparently Kyle's mum, the sheriff didn't know about Kyle up until a certain age, and Kyle's mum turned up with him one day and was like, yeah, I can't deal with him anymore, because from the ripe age of 5 he started hurting animals, and then he caught her one day and she was like, yeah, no, I'm not having this anymore. And the sheriff happily took him over, and she watched him grow up from a distance. And then when Logan asked Donnie where she is now, turns out she's dead. She died 10 years ago, shortly after the trial for Robert Evans started, which is very suspicious. What a coinkydink. So what if it was Kyle that did all of those bad things to those women that Robert got sent down for, and then he did those bad things to Victoria and Marcus? I also forgot to mention as well that the whole fucking town knew this happened. I didn't realise when we were going through the flashbacks that it was in the middle of the fucking street. I thought it was in a warehouse or in a cabin or something. No, it was in the middle of the street. Not a single person came to help. Diana did try, but they wouldn't let her. I think Lindy tried as well, but they wouldn't let her either. The whole fucking town. This is literally a cult. It's almost like they've got a dome around them. It's the weirdest thing. So bizarre. Anyway, I'm gonna carry on. I just had a thought and I needed to share with you that it could be Kyle, which makes me feel a bit sick. Okay, it's been a hot minute and I haven't yet finished book 4 like I hoped I would in the time that I wanted to. It doesn't really matter to you guys, to be honest, but I'm on to chapter 12 now, and Lana has just killed 2 detectives in the town and kidnapped Kyle Davenport. So I really love the fact that she went in with Michael Myers' costume, because partway through this, before it was mentioned about her last name, I was like, oh, how ironic that she's got the same last name as Michael Myers and he was a serial killer. She's done it on purpose, obviously. I wonder if Leonard is starting to put things together now. He agrees with Logan that the unsub is probably a woman, and I think the Michael Myers costume and Lana suspiciously now running off the minute that Kyle's gone missing, things like that. I wonder if Leonard is going to start piecing it together. I am wondering how she's managed to get Duke in on it though, because she's just said that she's having to nip home because her house has been broken into. So I don't know how that's working, whether it's been a case of Jake, I think he's called, her partner in crime if you like, whether it's a case of him staging a break-in and Duke has therefore then called her home, or what. But otherwise my thought process is that Duke's in on it as well, but I didn't think he knew. I thought Hadley was the only other one that knew, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I can't remember what the last thing was that I said to you about this was, but the reveals that we've been going through when I've been reading this over the last few days, not very quickly I might add, have been shocking. So very shocking. And also it's come to light that it could be a case that Kyle was the original serial killer as well, and not Lana's dad or Victoria's dad. So I could have been correct on that one. We will see. But I'm going to carry on with this anyway. I'm 67% through book 4 now. So Becca's got dice sprints. So what I'm hoping to do is get through book 4 and then potentially a good chunk into book 5. But I'm also swapping out, if she rolls a double, I will swap out with another book as well. So we'll see how I get on with this one, but I'll keep you updated, and I am hoping to finish this very, very soon, if not tonight, tomorrow. So fingers crossed. Okay, hey, some time has passed and I have now finished the Mindfuck series. I'm not going to hold this up because it's very, very heavy, but I didn't update you at all on the ending of book 4 or book 5 at all. So let me try and recap my memory, because it's been about a week, maybe longer than that, since I finished the book. I have just edited up to date on the vlog, right up until the clip before this one. So it's kind of refreshed my memory a little bit. So we got to a point where I was under the impression that Leonard was piecing things together, and he was. Not necessarily specifically Lana, but he was piecing it together that Logan is probably correct that it's a woman. And this, sorry, I've just been downstairs. And this, that and the other. So we then got to a point where it came to light that it is Lana. I can't remember what it was that did it for Logan. I can't remember fully what it was that did it for him. But he assumed that he found out that Lana used to be Kennedy, and he assumed that Kennedy had this obsession with Victoria and her family, and she was doing it as like a revenge thing, but it was an obsession thing. And he, in his mind, then jumped to the conclusion that Kennedy had been trying to get information out of him about the case. He obviously didn't sit back and properly think this through. He just automatically assumed that he'd been manipulated. He obviously didn't think it through that not once did Lana ever ask him about the case or try to get information out of him. So he went back to the hut where they'd been staying in the town, and he actually like angry fucked her and then left her handcuffed to the bed naked, and revealed that he knew everything, and he wouldn't let her explain. She decided she didn't want to explain because he wasn't going to listen, and he left. He left thinking that she was still attached to the bed. She managed to get herself out because, you know, she's Lana, and she then went on her way to go find Jake, and she left and she found Jake, told him everything that happened, and then went on her, essentially just went cold as ice bitch. She had nothing left to give. She just wanted to get this over and done with, and she was done. So she went on her merry way to continue killing people, at which point Jake then spoke to Leonard, told him what he'd found out, and then he went speaking to Hadley, because he found out that Hadley actually knew, and again he wouldn't let her explain. And then somehow, I can't remember, oh, it was a conversation with Jake. He ended up having a conversation with Jake, and Jake told him everything. Told him what had happened, the fact that Victoria and her brother were brutally raped in the middle of the street, and not one person had helped them. And then her brother Marcus had tried to get her out of there, and he died on the way. They had to go to a hospital outside of town because the hospital in town was compromised, the cops were compromised, the lawyer was compromised, everybody was compromised. He tried to get them out of town. Victoria managed to make it to the hospital. Her brother died before he could, and she ended up taking her face was that much of a mess. She didn't, I know at the beginning of this vlog I said she took Kennedy's face. She didn't. She just took Kennedy's identity. Both her and Kennedy's faces were that much of a mess. Hers from being brutally beaten up while being raped, and Kennedy's from the car accident that she died from, that she managed to, because she had to have facial reconstruction, it worked in her favour that it was because of the car accident that Kennedy had to have this facial reconstruction, and that's why she no longer looks like Kennedy or Victoria. So she just took Kennedy's identity and the money so that she could piece all of this together. She then obviously changed her name by default so she could do this without being hunted down by Kennedy's family. So he then found all of this out. He realised the mistake he'd made, and he went back to the hut, but she had gone, and he realised that he was in deep shit now, because he basically has done to her what everybody else has done to her over the years, and just immediately brushed her off and not believed her on anything. And he realises he's fucked up. So she continues on her merry way, on her mission to continue killing people, and he is doing his very best not to let Johnson kick him out of town. In the meantime, they get called back because Johnson gets his way, but she destroys the whole fucking town. She burns the whole thing to the ground. She manages to get the people out that didn't specifically, although the town never grasped on them and never helped the kids, she doesn't hurt them. She just hurts the cops that were involved, the men that were involved, the judge, etc., that were all involved. She just hurts them, but she lets everyone else leave town. And she burns the whole fucking place to the ground. And we're under the assumption, I think at the end of book 4, that she has died. It turns out Jake got her out, but Logan's under the impression that she died because she went in to kill the cops and she never came out. It turns out Jake went in to save her, and he managed to do that. Now, in book 5, Logan's pieced it all together. He knows exactly what's gone on, and he is absolutely mortified, and what he's trying to do is get the case overturned originally. So he wants her dad to end up, Robert to end up with a clean slate for his name and stuff, and he also wants the people that were guilty all the way to the top within the FBI and the police department to have to answer for their crimes, because it went all the way to the top. She didn't quite get everybody because it did go all the way to the top, but he wants them to answer for their crimes. However, the FBI unfortunately would not overturn Robert's case for one reason or another. I think it's because it did go all the way to the top, and he ends up in the end just quitting his job. He can't do it anymore. He's like, what the fuck is the point in me doing this job if you guys aren't going to look after innocent people? 2 children died that day, because they're still going along the story that Victoria died. Two children died that day. A man was murdered because not only were Victoria and Marcus brutally raped and abused in the street, but her dad was brutally raped by the police officers that had arrested him the night that he died. And the coroner said that it was a heart attack that he died from, and it wasn't. It was the brutal raping and beating that he'd taken. Victoria's raping was that bad that she had to have a full hysterectomy at the age of, I think she was 16, 17, because they'd made such a mess of her internally. It was awful, absolutely awful. I was knocked sick to my stomach. It was horrific. So 100% I stan the way that she went through everything. And then there was one last person I think that she needed to kill, and she ended up doing it. It turns out though it took a month for the body to be found, so Logan didn't know for too long that she was still alive. He then realized that she was, and then he pieced it all together that it turned out it was Jake's dad that had done the original killings and killed the sheriff's daughter, which started this whole thing off, in which Robert was accused of it. It turns out it was Jake's dad, and Logan killed him to try and prove a point to Lana. Then Logan and Hadley found Jake and Lana, met up with them, decided that they were going to stay with them, and yeah, that was it. Happy ever after. We follow them a few years later, I think, and they're all married, not to each other. Logan and Lana are married. Hadley and Jake are married, but they have a very, like, they can invite people into their bedroom and stuff. Each to their own. And Logan treats Lana once a year on their anniversary to a murder. It's the strangest thing, but obviously you can't just go from being a serial killer for several years to just stopping. So I think his thought process is that if these people fall through the cracks in the FBI and they don't get arrested for one reason or another and sentenced, then Lana can deal with them. And I'm all here for that. So yeah, it was a great series. Like, I really enjoyed it. The smut wasn't too smutty in here, which was a shame. Obviously it was for Literature Book Club, so I expected it to be a lot more smuttier than it was. It did fade to black a couple times, so I was a bit gutted about that. But the overall story, I really enjoyed it. I ended up feeling like I was part of the investigation. I would have had all these thoughts anyway, but the fact that I had somewhere that I could share the thoughts and then see them, whether or not they revealed to be true, was really good. I just really enjoyed the whole process. It definitely felt like a Dexter series. If you've ever watched Dexter, if you've read this and you haven't seen Dexter, you will enjoy it, but the man is the serial killer. But yeah, I had a good time with this one, and I think overall the series gets a 5-star for me. Every single book apart from the second one got 5 stars. The second one just got 4, only because I felt like it was dragging a little bit, but the rest of it, the way it's all pieced together, the way her story is revealed slowly but surely, and you're getting little bits and little snippets and you're just not sure who did what. There are a lot of characters in here, but if you keep up with it properly, you will figure out like exactly who's who and exactly what's going on. And I just absolutely loved it. I loved it. It was so good. So if you did read this one, chat to me in the comments down below. I honestly don't know how many people are going to have watched this vlog because it's a spoiler vlog and not everyone will have read the book. But chat to me in the comments down below if you did read the book and you were interested in my thoughts on the spoiler side of it and you got to the end of this video. And if you did, leave me an apple emoji if you don't want to chat to me specifically but you want to let me know you saw the end of this video. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.